What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. Before I get into this video, I'm going to skip my usual plug, but I do want to mention, and I want to thank the last few people who signed to the Patreon. Thank you guys a lot. Thank you. I truly mean that because, and I've been pushing the Patreon for a specific reason. YouTube recently lost a lawsuit where, in the lawsuit, they were sued by a group representing some parents. All right. These parents had children who were exposed to material on YouTube that was not suitable for children. And Google, actually, I think it was, actually got sued, who owns YouTube. Google was sued for $170 million, nearly $200 million. So, and my theory is because of this situation, they're trying to recoup their losses, and they're also trying to prevent something like this from happening again. So instead of targeting the type of channels out there that are a threat to children, all right, they're targeting channels that, in their eyes, are not as profitable as other channels. So certain channels that they deem not profitable can be eliminated anytime. They change the rules. So a channel like mine's, some other channels you like, we may be terminated off YouTube soon. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be very pissed off because we are the ones who helped to create and popularize YouTube. YouTube is supposed to be for the common guy, for us to have a voice. Now, the corporate takeover of YouTube is almost complete. And I'll be honest with you. Well, you know what? I'm not going to even say that. I'm not going to say that on this format. But that's why I implore people, if you support Too Raw for TV for only $2 per month, come over to the Patreon. Now, in this video, I want to talk about James Harden. Shout out to Ticket TV for his video talking about James Harden. I did a video a couple days ago talking about this, but I want to do another one more aimed at James Harden, because I think the last video I was talking about, Kawhi and James Harden. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys were like commenting in bewilderment, like he actually complained about being double teamed. Yes, he complained about being double teamed. He sat up there and said that no other team has ever been doubled. No other player has been doubled with the intensity he's been doubled. This fucking dude, man. This guy, I'm telling you, man, look, to an extent, a lot of players today are selfish. A lot of players today stat pad. All right? But at least they try to at least appear to be team-orientated players. He can't hide his narcissism. He cannot hide his self-centeredness. I don't know what spectrum he is on the narcissistic personality scale. I don't think he's like Patrick Bateman, a fucking serial killer. I hope he's not secretly the Houston slasher. But this guy is extremely selfish, man. Great scorers in the past actually saw it as a compliment. They saw it as a compliment when teams defended, double teamed them, or had their best defender on them, or defenders. They saw that as respect to their game. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it, man. I honestly am absolutely shocked. Um, Larry Bird, a couple years ago, got a little bit of trouble, a little controversy, when he said that when he played, he was actually offended if the opposing team put a white guy on him defensively. He wanted the best defensive player on him. Now I can simply say, "Oh, Mike, what you said?" Bird said this. Bird said this. All right. He took it as disrespect towards his game. Now look, we all see highlights of Kobe, Jordan, and Tracy McGrady and Iverson going off and shit. Oh, look at all. But what people don't understand is, at that same token, there were games where these guys got double teamed a lot, a lot. Okay, they got doubled a lot. That's why you saw some games where Kobe might have. Well, shit. I'll be honest with you. Kobe would shoot over the double team sometimes. When Jordan got hot, he would shoot over the double team. Kobe is arguably the greatest bad shot maker I've ever seen in my life. Even Phil Jackson said something like that. I think Phil said overall he thought Michael had the advantage as far as overall greatness, but when it came to like getting hot, he said he hadn't seen anybody like Kobe before. Allen Iverson, you know, Allen Iverson never saw a shot that he wouldn't take, but at the same time, Allen Iverson was interested in the win, as was Kobe, as was Jordan, as was Jerry West, as was Oscar, as was any great player you can think of. They were interested in the win. Okay? If they saw double teams, triple teams, they would pass. How many times do we see the highlight of Jordan kicking it to Steve Kerr for that jumper near the free throw line that won and sealed the deal for the championship for the Bulls for championship number 5? How many times have we seen that? Or when Horace Grant passed it open to a wide open John Paxson for the 3 for 93. You know what I'm saying? Which sealed their third championship and their first three-peat. It's not always going to be this situation where you're going to see single coverage. It doesn't work like that in the NBA. If you are, especially if you're a guy that's been rolling like James Harden as of late, coming into that game against the Clippers averaging 38, 39 points per game, all right? You're on pace to have the highest scoring season at least since 1962-63 right now. And you could tell this guy's selfish because he was annoyed against the Denver Nuggets in the game they lost, 105-95. He was annoyed that he wasn't able to get to 30. He was pissed he wasn't able to get to 30. This past game, he was annoyed not only that they lost, but that he wasn't able to get to 40. His goal now is to try to drop 40 points every night. All right? He wants to pass Michael Jordan's 86, 87. I said this to you guys last year. I knew what he was trying to do last year. He wasn't able to do it. So that's why he got a leg up this season, padding his numbers. Remember, he didn't get the green light to really do that last year until Chris Paul went down with that injury, the hamstring injury. Then he started lighting people up. That's when he had the streak of 32 games of 30 points or more. And it was one thing when he did it when Chris Paul was out, but he continued to shoot at that rate after Chris Paul came back and Clint Capella came back later on. He still was shooting the ball like that. But I've never seen a guy this selfish in my life. Never seen a guy this selfish. This isn't a singles competition. You're not a boxer. You're not a tennis player. You're on a fucking team. Like I said, man, it has to be. Russell Westbrook is quiet, man, right now. But Russell Westbrook has to be feeling a certain type of way playing with this guy. Let's just let's ask yourself a question. Do you see any signs that playing with James Harden that he makes players around him better? Isn't that one of the one of the first things you ask about a player if he's great, does he make the players around him better? No. James Harden exponentially makes the players around him worse. He doesn't utilize the players around him. This is why I can tell you now, in November, that Houston will not win a fucking championship. Period. They're not going to win because of their style of play. They're not going to win a fucking thing. They're not getting to the fucking. I'm telling you something. They're not getting to the conference finals. I'm certain of that. They're not getting to the conference finals. They're going down in the second round, and they might fuck around and go down in the first round. There are nights when a great scorer may see single coverage. They may not double you. They may not trap you. But more often than not, if you have a stretch where you're going off like this, you're going to see some double teams. You're going to see sometimes even triple teams. But those are the games when a Kobe, when a Mike would show off their passing ability. Those are games when oftentimes you might see a cutting Bill Winnington, or you might see an open Pau Gasol down low. This guy, he's not thinking about the team. He's thinking about yakking up his shot. That's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. And so anybody that sits up there and says, yeah, James Harden, right. I ain't never seen other guys get double like that. Because I'm stupid. 86 first round Boston Celtics. I'm just going to use this as one example. Michael Jordan, I think the best player on his team at that time was Orlando Woolridge. And Woolridge might have had like 25 that game. I can't remember how many points he had, but I know Mike had 49. Michael had 49, but it came in a rout anyway. The Celtics won that game 130 to 108, and I think 30 of those 49 points came in the first half of Jordan. So they pretty much like, okay, he had a big game, we still won. He's not going to do it again. Well, Jordan comes out in game 2, and he scores 63 points. All right. Remember, the Boston Celtics at this time, they have Dennis Johnson, who's one of the league's better defensive players. So in game 3, the Boston Celtics say, fuck this. We're going to double and triple team Mike every time he gets the fucking ball. We're going to make him miserable. So in game 3, they blow the Bulls out. Jordan has 19 points. Was Mike frustrated about it? Probably. But that's just the way the game is. That's the way the game goes. That's why a guy like Jordan probably said, okay, to management, we need some changes on this team. I need some better players around me. And I need to improve as a passer. I need to improve my outside shooting. I need to open up the game for myself. I can't always just rely on, scoring in the paint, slashing. I need to be able to open the game up for myself. I don't want to just do 2 or 3 things to make me somewhat predictable. James Harden. When the Seattle SuperSonics started keying in on Jordan in their 96 finals, and they had some great defensive players on that team. Everybody brings up Gary Payton, but people forget they still had Nate McMillan, even though he was toward the end of his career. They had Nate McMillan. I think they still had Derek McKee. You know what I'm saying? They had they had Hershey Hawk. Was Hershey Hawkins? Yeah, Hershey Hawkins was on the team. They had some really good. That team was one of the best defensive players. Excuse me, that team was one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They might have been the best defensive team in the NBA that year. So when they started neutralizing Mike the last 3 games of that series, other players got involved offensively. Other people got to step it up. And that also goes to show you that when James Harden is passing, he's really doing it to pad his numbers. He's looking up and saying, okay, well, I average 8 assists. I need 2 more assists. He's not, a lot of these guys, they're not playing just for they're not playing through the flow of the game for the offense and they just happen to get these numbers. These guys are consciously going for numbers. Now, I understand that other guys do it too. Russell does it to an extent, a great extent, and honestly. LeBron does it to an extent. All these guys are padding their numbers. But at least I'll say with them, their padding has a minimal effect on hurting the game, hurting their team. James Harden hurts the team. He doesn't make the players around him better. In fact, he makes them worse. There's no ball movement. There's no rotational movement in their offense. It's just you got guys standing around. And if you got a guy, I watch this team, man, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, man. If James Harden is being doubled and tripled, why aren't some guys cutting to the basket for an easy layup? Why aren't guys moving in position for an easier shot for themselves? They're just standing around the three-point line. I don't fucking understand it. Then he still doesn't pass the fucking ball. He passes it way too late for a guy to get a bad shot off. I don't know, man. This team is stupid. They're stupid. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, for this guy to complain about double team, I don't get it. He whines too fucking much. He complains about not winning the MVP. He complains about not being able to drop 40. He complains about he's the epitome of the entitled, petulant, baby, pampered superstar, millionaire athlete.